in my Levi jeans. When you're popping out your phone, are you down to it?
Baby, you know I'm on my bullshit. I'll let you ride. Rodeo in your room, that shoe breaks loose with perfect timing. Love when you tease me in them jeans, girl.
Well, good morning, you guys. Welcome in. So today, I wanted to talk about something that just was a little different. We are getting ready to head into fall. We're getting ready to welcome fall, and things are going to be changing. We got almost less than 30 days to fall, and Labor Day is coming as we're getting close to ending the summer. So they say. So let's get into some content. So we're gonna check out a couple of people who have had this experience. Now imagine you are at home or you sleeping in your bed and you're relaxing, right? And all of a sudden you hear and you're like, go to the door, peek through the hole, there's nobody there. So you go back and lay down and then you hear it again. But this time you look on your Ring camera and you see something that just don't look right, right? So a lot of people have had these experiences. Most people say that it's happened at night. Um, I've had this experience when we watch it, and I will tell you my story going towards the end. So this won't be a long live, but I'll tell you what I experienced and why they say you should never ever open the door, no matter what. And sometimes you might have someone there that looks familiar and realize it's not them. Okay. Let's see if we can check out some videos. But yeah, it has happened to me. Um, so I'm gonna let this lady, this content creator, right? Her name is Monique. I'm sorry, excuse me. Monique, she only did a part one. She never came back with a part two. But she said that this woman that she know had a knock at the door, and her daughter saw who it was. So we're gonna play that video.
Knocked at her door. Wait a
Y'all
minute, y'all. So I just seen the lady on my FYP, right? And she goes on to say that somebody knocked at her door, and when she went to the door, nobody was in there. And she had her window open. So her and her daughter is 8 years old, and they were sitting on a sofa. So she said, like, so they must have came like from the left side of the house, like coming the left side, because she said her little driveway goes to the left. So she was like, her blinds was like halfway cracked. So she said she get up, go to the door, look through the peephole. She don't see nobody. So she said she go back to sit down, and she said somebody knocked at the door again, like a few minutes later. Gets up, go to the door, nobody at the door. So she was like, all right. She said, I know I'm not tripping. So she said she get to the door, she looked through the peephole, nobody was in there. So she was like, she ended up going upstairs to go get her cell phone. So she said her 8-year-old, her daughter was still sitting on the sofa. And she said when she got downstairs, she was like, she told her daughter, she was like, I went to the door the second time, nobody was at the door, but somebody knocked at the door. And the daughter was like, I just seen the man passing with like all white. And she was like, what you mean? And she was like, Mom, the man, he was coming from like our door. She was like, the man was coming from our door. She was like, I didn't see nobody coming from the door. And the daughter was like, I seen a man had on all white. So, yo, the lady was like, come to find out, she said she been having like weird little things going on in the house. She said the man that the daughter seen died in that house. I'll be back with part 2, y'all. This is even get crazier, y'all. It's get crazy.
So I went looking for part 2, y'all. Ain't that creepy? And I could not find it. So basically, I don't know what happened in part 2, but she was saying that basically when they got the house, I guess he had already passed and they sold it, and y'all know how that go. Police, cause Now here is another story, and this young lady is telling her experience. So let's get to this. And she goes by the name Letty Loves You.
A knock knock joke, that's for sure. But after listening to this story last night, I had to go to the restroom, and the whole time I'm in the restroom, I'm like, no one better knock on my door right now. No one better knock on my door. So the guy gets woken up by his girlfriend saying knock knock. He looks at the time and it is 3:27 in the morning, and he is so confused. So he's like, what are you doing? Why are you waking me up saying knock knock? And her response to all of that is knock knock. And he's like, what the fuck? Like, we're asleep. Why are you waking me up trying to get me to play this little game with you by saying knock knock? And his girlfriend's like, just answer me. And she goes, knock knock. And he's like giving up. So he's like, fine, who's there? And she says, it's not me, don't open the door. Turns around and goes back to sleep, and he stays there like, what the fuck? So he ends up going to bed still, and the following morning he wanted to ask her why she did that, and it almost seemed like she was trying to ignore his question, but she ends up telling him, oh, it's just a little prank that I thought of, and like she leaves to work. Like she was trying everything to avoid the question for whatever reason. So they both go to work, they have dinner, and they go to bed, and again he gets woken up by her saying knock knock. He looks at the clock and it's 3:27 in the morning, and he looks at her and says, you already told me this was a prank. Why are you doing this again? Let's just go back to sleep. And the only thing she responds to him with is knock knock. So he's irritated and he's like, what is the point of this? What are you doing? Like, just tell me what's the end game. All she says is just answer, knock knock. And he's like, fine, who's there? And she goes, it's not me, don't open the door. She turns around and goes back to bed. So at this point, the boyfriend is angry because he's like, why is she waking us up over a stupid prank or joke or game when we both have to work the next day? So that morning when they woke up to go to work, he was like, you need to tell me why you're doing this. And she wasn't going to leave the door like she did the first night, not really giving him a real answer. So he's like, you need to tell me why. What's the end game? What are you doing? However, she gives him the same answer. It's just a game. It's just a game. Like, and he's like, why? And she's like, it's a game. And she just like leaves the house. So as you can imagine, they come home, have dinner, go to sleep. And again, she wakes him up at 3:27 in the morning. But this time he's not answering. He's like, why are you doing this? What is the end game? And she goes, just answer, knock, knock, just answer. And he's like, no. And she's like, answer, knock, knock, answer. And he's like, I'm not answering. Why are you doing this? So he's like, you know, you're causing a problem in our relationship. This isn't a joke anymore. You're waking me up in the middle of the night when we both have to go to work. So no, I don't want to play your game. Why are you doing this? You're like creating issues in our relationship. And she's still like, answer, please, answer, knock, knock. So he ends up saying, who the fuck is it? Like, who the fuck is at that door? And she goes, it's not me. Don't open the door. She turns around and goes to sleep. So morning comes around and he wants to have a serious conversation with her. So he tells her, I don't know how or what kind of conversation I need to have with you to let you know that it's really messed up that you keep waking us up in the middle of the night and it's creating a big problem. And this time she was like apologetic. She's like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to do it. I just thought it was a game. He's angry with that answer because it makes no fucking sense where you keep doing this to him, you know what I mean? So he storms out. He goes to work and all day she's sending him text messages like, I'm sorry, and she's calling him, he's not answering. He's ignoring everything. He mentions that the last text that she sends him is like, I'm so sorry, I know that sleep is important, I promise this is not going to happen again, please forgive me. But the boyfriend kind of starts feeling bad because they had never argued like this before, so for him to ignore her calls or texts made him feel a little bit guilty. So he's like, okay, well, I'm going to forgive her and I'm going to make her dinner because I don't want this to be like the end of us. So he goes home, he makes her dinner, they eat together. her and they go to bed. This time, he gets woken up again with a knock knock. He glances at the clock and it's 3:27 in the morning, and he says that he wants to get up and just scream at the top of his lungs. Like, he wants to grab everything in that room and just fucking break it apart. So he says that he turns to look at his girlfriend that's probably next to him, like, say knock knock, but instead she's standing on the bed looking down at him with the craziest smile, saying knock knock. The way he describes this smile, I don't know if you guys ever seen that movie, oh my god, the movie Smile, okay, where it's like extended and it looks freaky. He's like, the smile was very off-putting. It was not like her normal smile. So as he's looking up at her with that weird fucking smile, he says, what are you doing? And in between that smiley face, she's telling him, knock knock. Oh my god, I got chills. At that moment, after she says knock knock again with her weird ass fucking smile, he says that her body started cracking and bending, and it was like a scene from a scary movie, and it scared him so much that he jumps out of bed and runs to the kitchen. But once he gets to the kitchen to catch a breath, he hears a knock at the front door. When he hears the knock, his first instinct is like, who is it? And it's his girlfriend's voice saying, love, please open the door. Whatever is in there is not me. Open the door, please. Whatever is in there is not me. Open the door, please. Please open the door. Don't listen to the person that's in there. Open the door. He has no idea what to do because he's like, who's the real one in the bedroom, outside the door? But in that moment, he had no time to do anything because whoever was in the bedroom, his girlfriend, comes out with that creepy smile, running full force towards him. But by the time she's about to get to him, he faints, passes out because of how scared he was. He says that he wakes up 2 hours later and his girlfriend is nowhere in that home. He says that he hasn't seen her since. He even made a police report or a missing person report because he has not heard of her. He has not seen her. Like, she's disappeared and has never returned. Honestly, that scares me more because what if one day she comes back with her creepy ass smile? Can you imagine? Knock knock. Oh, I just scared myself. Anyway.
I'm sorry. No, that is creepy because obviously whatever it was that was going to get him obviously got her. And yeah, that was pretty intense. All right, so let's go to another one. So this one is by The Real Blizzy. Okay, y'all, I love The Real Blizzy and Rebecca Journey. I believe her name is Rebecca Journey. I follow her on YouTube, both of them. They have some great Haitian folklore. And Luna, they have some great, that's a couple, to name a few, scary stories, y'all. Like, they have some great content. So we're going to look at hers, The Real Blizzy. Man, her stories, what? Hold on.
Remember how I be telling y'all, if you hear somebody knocking on your door or you hear somebody's voice but no one is home, never open the door?
Never.
Scary story time. And this story this time is actually not my dad's story. It's my friend's story. She's also Haitian and she wanted to share her story with you guys. So when her family was supposed to come to this country, coming from Haiti, they kept it a secret. And this is actually a common thing because even with me too, when I was coming, it was an absolute secret. Nobody knew but me, my dad, and my grandma, and my uncle. And my uncle was a pastor. Well, is a pastor. But the reason for that is people are jealous and people will do anything to stop you from where you need to be. When they see you prospering and it's not them, I've seen it happen so many times in Haiti. Anyway, so that was the case for her and her family. At the time, it was her and her brother. And when I tell y'all, it was an absolute secret. Nobody knew they were coming to America but the people living in their house. It was literally top secret, which is why it was shocking to her mom when she got a phone call from a church member. Mind y'all, they weren't even that close. Like, that church member, it's not like they were like best friends. It was just somebody they went to church with, and she actually lived very far too. Now, there was this lady that they knew that everybody knew was a lugau, but it wasn't their business. You feel me? Like, that's the lady's problem. That's her. She do her. Anyway, so the mom gets a phone call from the church member, and the church member tells her mom, I had a dream.
For some of y'all don't know, a lugau is a shapeshifter. They turn into cats, animals. I think they did something wrong. I'm gonna see if I can find a video. We'll do it on next Friday where they discuss it about why they become that.
And I know that you guys are leaving, you guys are going to America, but so and so, the lady that's a Lugao, does not like that. And she has something planned for y'all so that it does not happen. Mind y'all, they don't even know how the Lugao lady found out that they're leaving, but I mean, you know, Lugao. The church member tells her from her dream that she was told to tell her mom these instructions. First one is, of course, make sure that nobody else finds out. The second one was to there was this uniform they used to wear to church for Saturday services. She tells them to keep that uniform and all of their clothes that they're going to wear until the day that they leave, and make sure that no.
Just Jules, yes. Oh yes. um, we'll get into it next week we gonna get into how they say how it happens and stuff. Yes, yes, yes.
Nobody touches those clothes. And the last thing that she told her to do was that the car that was supposed to transport them to the airport, change it. Absolutely change it. So they did all of that. They prayed, they followed directions and stuff like that, and everything worked out well. They got here thinking it was over, but whoo, was it far from over. Remember how I be telling y'all if you
Okay,
hear
let me
somebody
see if
knocking
I can find part two because this story is man. Listen, I'm gonna go find part two for y'all. And actually, she tells it basically how when they got here, things just started going wrong. Why is it? Hold on, y'all. But basically, they got there and it just um they got there, and once they got there, things just started going bad. Okay, here we go. I I don't know. They
to follow is to the kids, like not just the kids, but everybody that was leaving was not allowed to leave the house at all until they left because of what the Lugao lady was planning, which is called an exposition. And my friend didn't know how to translate it, and I also don't know how to translate it. So if you're Haitian and you know how to translate it in English, please comment. Before we completely fast forward until when they got here, let's backtrack just a little bit. So a month before they came, my friend's mom had a dream, and it was basically like the house that they were going to live in. It was somebody showing her around the house and showing her the neighborhood. Okay, now fast forward, they get here, and when they get here, exactly what her mom saw in that dream a month before is exactly how the house looked with everything that she was being shown. So she starts like telling the kids, so the upstairs is going to be here, there's a store around the corner, there's this and there's that. And my friend was like, how do you know all that? This is our first time here. So anyway, they settle in or whatever. But little did they know that the lady, the church member lady, has been trying to get in contact with them. Now, remember when I told y'all they weren't even close like that, so the lady didn't really have their number when they got here. So this lady is trying really bad to get in contact with them because something else came up. So it takes her a good couple of weeks until she finds a number and finally
just Jules. She posted this last year, but I'm not sure what year. But trust me, it's a lot going on.
reaches my mom's friend again. So she calls her and she tells her she has had another dream. And this time, this dream is telling her that the person found out that they got here and they're really not happy about it now. And now she's like, oh, y'all think this is over? It's far from over. We're going to get you from over there. She was upset that her original plan didn't go through and they actually got here. So my friend's mom gets the message. She gets off the phone. She talks to my friend and her brother and tells them to be very careful because they were about to start school. She starts praying. They even started praying in the house, in her house in Haiti too. So it was just like a prayer session. They were constantly praying just in case. So fast forward to like another week after they got that phone call. At this point, my friend and her brother, they're in school and their mom is home. And this had to be around like noon or whatever, right? She hears a knock at the door. She's home alone. Their dad is at work and the kids are in school. So she's like, who could be at the door at this time? She just got here. She ain't got no friends. But then she thinks, oh, maybe the kids had half a day and they're getting here early. She still goes like, who's this? And she hears my friend's voice and her brother saying, hey, it's us. But she asked that all the way from her bedroom because she was about to take a nap and she heard the knock on the door. So she goes to the door, opens the door, and no one is there. So her being tired, she's like, "Oh, well, maybe they went to the store. They'll be right back." So she closes the door and doesn't lock it, just in case the kids were coming back. But little did she know, the kids were still in school. Okay, so and the last part, I almost forgot to tell you guys that part of the directions that they were supposed to follow is to the kids, like not just the kids, but everybody that was leaving was not allowed to leave the house at all until they left because of what the Lugao lady was planning, which is called an exposition. And my friend didn't know how to translate it, and I also don't know how to translate it. So if you're Haitian and you know how to,
If I can find part three. Come on. I hate when it does this and it goes so slow. I'm looking for her part three, y'all, because I know it. I can't find part three, but basically, the mom had a dream that something happened to the kids, and by the time she woke up, the kids was at the door. Yeah, yeah, they were supposed to leave the house together. She woke up, um, and the mom started praying. She started praying really hard because her friend's mom, because it was something that the lady was doing. But if I find part three, we'll go into the next one. Okay, so this is I am Lexi. Now she done had her an experience too about knocking on doors.
What's up, cousins? So this isn't like an in-depth story or nothing like that. Just something I was thinking about as I'm driving, right? So I was like 9. I was like, yeah, I was 9, which was crazy because me and my sister, I was 9, she was 11, and we had two homegirls that lived a couple houses down. They had our same names, like, but both of them, one was 8, one was 9. It's crazy. Anyway, so I get up early. Like I've always got up early, so I'm up early. It's probably like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and my mom was asleep, my stepdad was asleep, my sister was asleep, my brother was asleep. So when you first walk into our house, it's like the entryway, but when you make a right into the kitchen and you go down some steps, it's like another part of the house. and that's where we had our computer at. So yeah, y'all, I was in them chat rooms, you know what I'm saying? So I'm in the chat room, like just chatting and stuff like that. And we had a back door down there. So it was a knock at the door. So I'm thinking, oh, it's one of my little friends because they used to come over like real early. You know how kids used to do, come up at somebody's house real early in the morning. So I'm thinking it's one of them, right? So I get up and I look out the blind. There's nobody there. So I'm like, okay. So I get back on the computer and I'm still doing what I'm doing. It's a knock again at the door. So I get up, I look out the blind again. It's nobody there. So I was so scared, y'all. I ended up, I ran to my room and got back in my bed. Like I was so scared. So later on that day, after school and stuff, I always got home first because I was in elementary school and my sister was in middle school. So I came home, and like I said, when you first come into the house, it's the walkway like a foyer. And then if you go down to the end of the hall, to the left is my mom's room, and to the right down the hall is our bathroom. So I go into my mom's room because I always go into her room when I go home from school and get comfortable and stuff. So when you make the left into her room, you make it right, it's her bathroom. So I made it right in her bathroom, and I was getting some black soap. Can't forget, I'm getting some black soap because I'm gonna wash my face. So I come out from her bathroom, and I immediately look to the left. Again, you look down to the hall to the left, it's our bathroom. It was red floating eyes in our bathroom. When I tell you, it scared the shit out of me, y'all. Like I literally ran into my mom's closet and blew her phone and blew her phone up. But yeah, I was like 9 years old, but it just popped in my head as I was driving and thinking about it. But yeah, what's up, cousins?
Child. If I would have saw that in my mom's bathroom, I think I would have just left the house. I would have just left the house. All right. I'm gonna try to keep this 30 minutes. So I'm gonna tell my story. I have a lot of personal experiences, paranormal wise. I did a video about some things. So I never forget it was I was off and I went to sleep. At the time I was staying in the hotel doing transitional whatever with the kids and stuff. It was just me, my son, and my niece. My sister was at work. I was off. I was working at Walmart in Atlanta, and I was getting ready to get into another place. So the kids would go sit in the bathroom and be on their electronics, right? So after that, they came in and they went to sleep. So everybody was taking a nap. So as I'm sitting here, I'm sitting here, I'm asleep. I hear like doop, doop, doop. And I'm just like, it's like I'm asleep and I hear it in my sleep. Because at first it was doop, doop. And then it go doop, 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 like three. So I look, man, I woke up mad as heck. And I'm going to tell you, I'm like, dang, did she get off early? Like, what's up? So I walked to the door, y'all. I looked through the peephole at first. There's nobody there. And I'm going to tell you how God worked because what happened after I left and what I read freaked me out. And it's so much, y'all know that hotel that they found down in Decatur where at the United Inn where there were kids being ex-trafficking. I was there. I stayed there. I didn't even know. And it could have been a girl, but to be honest, I knew it was something else because nobody would run that fast. So I sat here, whatever. And once I opened the door, I closed it. Man, I'm glad I had got my place. Everything was worked out. We moved. I'm glad we did when we did. And I'm going to tell you why. I get a call. I asked. I say, man, how's it is over there? I knew some people that was there. They say, y'all know somebody got shot over there. I said, what? Right after I left, 2 weeks later, somebody got shot. They got shot. I don't know if they made it. I don't know if they was alive. But after that knock, they got shot. So I'm going to tell y'all something. And ever since I had that knock and ever since I left, I've been seeing and hearing things go down at that place. They have just got raided for sexual trafficking minors. And they would have the pimps pimp out the rooms to the minors. They just lost a lawsuit with a young girl, won millions of dollars from this hotel. That knock, I don't know what it was on that property. I don't know what happened. I don't know who they pissed off, but that knock has started everything to trickle domino effect. I have some other stories. Oh no, I have one more. When my mom passed, when we used to live, and after my mom passed there, we had to go to another area. I heard a knock on the door that time too, but I never said anything. Tell me why that place caught on fire. Y'all don't ever open them doors. But I was mad the first time because I was like, dang, I forgot. You're not supposed to open the door. So after I opened it, I couldn't go back to sleep. I was just praying to God. I was like, listen, God, listen, I don't know if that's a warning, but that's a warning. Sometimes knock on doors can be, you don't know, right? But I'm going to say this. If you don't see anything or you feel like you're being protected after that knock, and then after you leave, something happened, that just lets you know that you weren't supposed to be there. It was time for you to go. It was time to get out of there. So I took that knock as it's time to get out of there. And it worked out fine because everything fell in place in time for me to get out. But I was always told, if someone call your name, never answer. If you hear a knock, you never answer. And I never answered after that. I hope you guys enjoyed the live. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. My allergies kicking my butt. The next one we get into, it's going to be calling saying goodbye without saying goodbye. That's going to be the next one. And then it'll be, if someone call your name and you don't see them, don't answer. And then we're going to get into SWs and mimics and mermaids. Oh, yes. You heard what I said, mermaids. They're real. We're going to get into that, too. We have a good 2 months of spooky story time. So I hope you guys enjoy it. We're going to get into a lot of stuff, okay? And thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. And I'll see you guys tomorrow with some other content. Thank you guys for watching. Later.
Roman numeral 7 days, drop it like it's hot. If this world was mine, I take it, things and make them multiply. If this world was mine, I take it, enemies in front of God.